everyone, it's Angela here again today. How are you all doing? I'm back here today to show you another project with envelopes. But before I do that, I want to just say welcome to everybody old. Well, we all old, but I mean my long and standing subscribers, and of course anybody who's new to my channel, very warm welcome to you all. So as promised, we are going to be using some envelopes today, and the type of envelopes I've chosen to use are these craft envelopes. I'm just grabbing my ruler here to tell you because I know I will be asked. Right, so these are craft envelopes. They've got flaps that open like this. I've got quite a few of these in my drawer here. They are just short of 4.5 inches. Or 11.5 centimeters, or 16 centimeters, or if you're working in inches, that's just short of 6.5 inches. So we're going to need 3 of those today, 3 of these. We're going to use those, and then I'm going to revisit toilet rolls cores. So I've had quite a few of these. I've got quite a container full of cores, and I really like using these in my journals, and I found another way that we can use these today. So what I have been doing is putting them under a pile of books. If you just spray them lightly, like ever so, like a mist of water, flatten them and put them under a pile of books, they flatten quite flat, so you can see that. These are in the process. I still need to do that, but I just wanted to show you. It's best to flatten them if you can and let them dry under a pile of books, and you're going to, or maybe try steam iron them and put them under a pile of books. That would work as well. So we're going to need 3 of those as well today. So that's what we're going to use. As far as the paper is concerned, I have got a page from Antique Paperie. This is called Daphne. It's a pretty new kit. When I bought this, and I think as of today, Antique Paperie are having a sale, and I think it only cost me 70 pence really, so that was 50% off, so that was really lovely. You get 6 sheets in this collection. I'm using this one with the pinks and the blues today. So what I did was I printed 3 of these. Now because my page is an A4 and not a American letter, I do, if you print it without a border, this is what you get. I have used one like that, but then I did take away and make it, it goes slightly, you can see at the bottom there, a bit further over, but you can make it fit the whole page. And I've printed 3 of these effectively, and that's what I'm going to use, all the bits and pieces in what we're going to do today. All right, so let me show you what I'm going to do. So I'm keeping you in suspense. Just put this aside for a moment. This is what I have created, so I hope you can see that. It doesn't need to have that on, I've just put that on there. I've taken the toilet rolls, and I'm going to show you what to do to make really pretty pockets for those. Each one of those has a little tag inside of that as well, so I'm not going to take them all out, but they've got little tags inside. You can see there, another one there. Push it in. All right, so I've just decorated there, and then if we open this up this way, you can see what we have in the middle. Is that in frame? What I've done in the middle here is just lay it up with the paper, put some of those fussy cuts, or you can put, these are the die cuts from Tim Holtz, but you can put fussy cut flowers on. Just laid up a few bits and pieces there. This one has a journal card in the center. Then on this one I have put I've got some wallpaper, but you can use any kind of pink die cut paper, whatever paper you have, or wallpaper. I've just put on a few bits and pieces and some buttons there, little flowers. I've also made a journal card, but I cut a hole in the middle there, so I've stuck a butterfly on there so that that can go through. So that's that side, if you have a look there. Then if we turn it the other way, you can see I've got just a beautiful image from that page, Daphne collection. Laid up a few bits there. I've made a bit of a notepad with some avocado dyed paper and some tea dyed paper in there. I'll show you how to do that. And then on the very last page, we've got another layered piece of that paper, which I've just put together like that. So you've got 6 sides to all of this, and it's going to concertina up like that really easily. Now this flap here is how I would attach this to a page. So if I just grab a piece of paper quickly, let's find one. So if I take a piece of paper like this, I would have it on a page like that. I would take this piece, I would glue that down. Usually what I do is I glue a piece over there to with some kind of decoration on it. So for example, a piece that would fit over that flap once it's glued down, cut to size, obviously slightly lower than the page, and then that would keep it in place there. All right, so it is quite a quite thick really, so you might want to do this as a separate project. You might want to do this on a cover even. You know, you don't need to put so many pages in the notebook. I did think that afterwards. That would make it a little bit thinner. So the choices are there. Or you could just put on one of these little grips, and that sort of makes it a little bit narrower. So that's what we're going to make today. So I hope you're going to join me to do that. So let's get started. Right, so I'll put this to the side. And the first thing that we are going to do is we want to get out our 3 envelopes. So as I said, I've given you the measurements for these. You can use any envelopes. This is just what I have on hand, and as we're having to use what we have on hand at the moment, this is it. So what I've done with one of these is I have deconstructed it. So that means that I've gone to the back, I took my bone folder very carefully, and I've lifted these 2 panels where it's glued on both sides here up. Now don't worry about how it looks, because we will end up gluing that back down, but we need to do that for to make the very first panel. So that's what you need to do there. So let's start off by doing that before we do anything else. So the first thing I want to do here is I want to put on the piece of paper that I want to cover this with. So I've used Daphne. You can use whatever you like. I have pre-cut these pieces of paper. Alright, so I'm going to use this piece of pink, and I'm going to stick that on the front like that. Okay, so that's what we're going to do there. Now I'm going to use my 3-in-1 beacon glue for this, because I won't be stitching around, so you want to make sure that you use a really good glue to start. Make it even. Okay. All right. Okay, so that's the first thing we want to do. Now we are going to end up joining all these envelopes together, but with this piece here, it's easier, I've found, to do this separately. Cut the hole in the middle. I'm going to use a circular a die cut thing that I bought off eBay, and I'm going to cut a circle in the middle here quickly on my Big Shot. So I'll be back with you in a second. All right, so here I am. So I've pressed this through my Big Shot. This will go and take out that middle bit there. Keep that, it's glued and it's backed onto something. You can use that for something in the future. So we'll just keep that there. And that is the circle. Now, I know someone will ask me, so I'm just going to tell you quickly. The diameter of this is 7, well, the cut size, let's say, is just over 7 centimeters. So that will be just 2 3/4 inches across. So that's what it looks like on the other side. And I got these off eBay for next to nothing, really. All right, so that's what we've got here. Now, what we want to do is, you don't have to, because I didn't in the other one, but you can put some vellum or tracing paper or acetate packaging that you might have. So I do have some, so I'm going to stick that down quickly at the back of this. So let's do that. So as I always say, go really close to the end of this, just a very little thin bead of glue, and then close to the, not too close, but quite close to the edge of the circle, like that. So turn that over and place that down like that. Okay, there we go. So there's that in place. Now what we want to do now is we will be stitching around that. Okay, so we'll get to that in a minute, but what I want to do, just make sure there's no glue anywhere that's going to stick it to the opposite side of the page. Now what I want to do is, there's lots of dust and bits going on here, but that's all right, we can just brush it off. Make sure you don't get any glue on there. My hands are full of glue and full of ink. Right, so I'm going to stitch that quickly, and I'll meet you back here. I'm just going to go round and round a few times in a very rough manner. I've gone around here quite a few times, I think 3. As I've said before, it is quite slippery sewing on the acetate, but there you can see what we have done. All right, so just a bit of messy stitching, really. I'll just have to, there we go. All right, so we've got that all sorted. I'm quite happy with that. So now what I want to do is I don't want to see that brown when I close it over. I've just taken a scrap of another piece of paper. This is a different wallpaper. And I'm going to just place that so that when I look through, I'm not going to see that. I am going to put a journal card in here, but I just don't want to have to see the brown card at all in a large amount. So I'm going to take my glue again, and I'm going to just run this over. So we want to put that glue as close to the edge as possible here, because you don't want your journal card to get caught on that. Let's just make sure. Oh, you see, I needed to check that, and it needs to move over a bit. So let's just make sure that we are all right with that. There we go. Okay, so that's looking really good. And as you can see, when you pull your card out, you are going to see a pretty picture rather than an image, rather than just brown card. So that looks really nice. Okay, so we're pretty much finished with everything to do with that. We can reconstruct our envelope. So it's just a case of, now don't go and glue right to the top. Let's just glue where that you can see it had glue before, on both sides. Okay, so we'll do that and put it back together like that, because you see if we put glue on there, then this bit is the bit that's going to tuck in, so we don't want that getting glued on the corners here. That's the bit that's going to hold it onto the page. Okay, so we are all done with that. Right, so that's the back page. Now what we need to do is we need to construct the rest of it. So hopefully I can remember how I did that. All right, so this is going to be the front, like that. And then we are going to put that. So this is the front. You've got your flap like that, and you're going to attach that a flap to there. So let's do that first of all. Now when you put these together, the golden thing that I've learned is not to go right into the crease. You want to keep it away about 2 millimeters or so. Otherwise, when you try and fold it, as you can see, I've left a bit of a gap there like that, so we just want to line it up, but leave that gap from the fold line there. So it's about 2 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch, really, just slightly less than 1/8 of an inch. So that's what you want to do, and then press that down like that. So we've got that one like that, that one like that, and then we need this one going in like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that this way, and I'm going to stick that on there. So when it closes like that, and you've still got your flap here. All right, so I've just turned this flap upright, and I'm going to stick this one now onto there. All right, so let's do that. Again, remember about your not going too close to the edge, the folded crease. Again, keep it away just a few millimeters, and now just use your ruler before you press it down, just to make sure that those are all in line as well. So that'll just make sure that they're all up to speed for where they need to go. A little bit more over, just check I've got it in line. Yeah. Okay, so when that is dry, that'll lie nice and flat like that, and you can just take your bone folder, knife, ruler, whatever you have, and just run that over there, and that's going to lie nice and flat like that. Okay, so I think that's about done. Just that's what I love about this 3-in-1. If there's some glue on there, you can just roll it off. Okay, so that's looking pretty neat like that, and that's what we're going to do. Yeah, so just keep doing that, and that'll keep it on track. Okie doke. So on that side as well, we've got our openings. We're going to cover these up. What we're going to do now is on the back two here, we want to slit those open, a little sliver, little sliver. We're going to put in journal cards into the back two. You could put one in there as well, but it just makes it even thicker. So I'm only going to put it in the back two because we've got enough going on the front. Okay, so just etching my knife in there. You can use scissors. All right, really thin sliver there. Okay, so now what you can see is we've got an opening here, and yes, it's loose, don't worry about that, and we have one here as well. So all we need to do, this one's not quite loose, but I want to just, it was just hanging on a little thread there, just ever so lightly just put a bit of glue on there just to keep that down. Not too thick either. That was a bit thick, so we just stick that down there, and then on there as well. Okay, we will end up putting some paper and other glue on there, but that will be sufficient for the moment. Okay, so we'll start with the other side. We've done this piece here. I'm going to get all the papers on, and then I'll decorate them one by one. So in the middle one, I'm going to take a piece from that Daphne paper that I've cut. I've already inked it, and I've stitched a decorative stitching around the edge. You don't need to stitch it. It's really a matter of personal preference. I'm going to stick that on the middle over there. So that's that. Again, just go to the edge as far as the stitch line for me, which is about 1/8 of an inch, just over 1/8 of an inch, or a couple of mils from the edge, and then we'll put glue all over this. The reason I love this glue, although it does drive me mad sometimes, is that I know it's never coming off. What goes on here is on here for life, so there's no worries about that. Okay, just make sure you've got it nice and straight. Okay, so there we have it. That's the middle one, and then the front we'll get to at the end. So let's turn that over now and stick this one over here. So that's really with the bigger flower bits. Now, as I said to you, I used 3 sheets of that paper to get the bits where the images where I wanted them to come from, but I didn't waste the paper, because what was remaining I used for everything else that I needed to do. So it was really worthwhile. Now, if you don't have wallpaper, go and have a look at other paper that you have. I do have a lot of wallpaper. I love wallpaper, and if you want wallpaper, I always say we can't go out at the moment, but you know, just bear in mind that you can always, when we can go out and you're wanting wallpaper, you can always go and get samples from the DIY stores. So there's that. All right, so we've got that there. That's now going to be the front page. Now, I did put glue all over here, but that's because I'm not going to have a tag, a journal card going in the top. But the ones where we are going to put journal cards into, which are these two, don't go and glue all over the side of the next piece. So for example, if this is going to go down here, don't go and put a thick layer of glue there. You won't be able to get your journal card in. So I'll show you what to do when we get there. Right, now in the middle I'm putting this color here, and this is also an example of what I mentioned to you earlier. We are going to put a journal card on that side. So the way I deal with this is just put a little bit of glue here. This is getting tacky again, and I've just put a little bit there, and then run the bead of glue down the side there. Put it all over that area, and then the rest is fine. As long as you've got a bit of a bead going right close to the edge there, and don't put any glue here or any glue down that 1 centimeter or 1/2 inch. So just be mindful of that. Okay. So I'll just draw a bit of a glue line here so I know where I am with this. Okay, and now we can now this will be slightly lower on the front here. I just ran out was too lazy to go and cut some more, so I'm not worried about that because something will be covering the top there. All right, so as I said, it will be open along that 1/2 inch or 1 centimeter area, but that's because we want to put a journal card in there. I'll get to the rest of that in a minute. Okay, so the last piece here, I'm gonna put this mat over this beautiful image here. Again, be very mindful of that area over there. Okay, now I'm starting with the flat surfaces first, because the very last thing we'll do is the front. And the reason for that is it's harder when things are not exactly smooth to work with areas like that. So just be very mindful. I go from the flattest thing to the more bulky thing when I'm doing that. So now this should be not have any glue on it, which it doesn't, so that's great. When I run this in here, that is not glued, which it isn't, so that's great. And just make sure the same on that side as well. Okay, so we just want to do that. So there we've got everything covered. That's what we're going to have as a base for that side, and that's what we're going to have, and we'll tackle that at the very end. All right, so let's decorate some of these things. Let's start off with this bit over here while this is drying. I was very basic with what I put on over there. I just used a couple of scraps. Just grab some bits here. This is a letter that I printed off from, I think this is from, oh look where this is from. This is just a scrap that I've got, and here's some more. And then I have got this one, which comes from Amity Bloom. That one might be from Amity Bloom as well. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I just want to take a little piece of this here. So I'm going to use my hands, and this does tear so nicely. I love working with this. This is amazing. All right, so I'm going to put a little bit of that over there, which is just tiny. And then I'm going to look for a word over here. And that's a good one, fairy. I'm just tearing that out with my fingers. Okay, and then down like that. Okay, so that's cool. So we'll just put a bit of this inking on it just to get rid of the white. And then we're going to just stick that down like that. And then I'm going to just put a small butterfly on, which I've cut a few out over here. So I've just found all my pink and blue ones, which come off Pinterest and various places. So I'm going to stick that over there. So we just got a little bit of a collage going on there. Simple as that, really, for that page. Really simple. Let me just grab my wet wipe here. Okay, so, gosh, there's glue everywhere today. Okay, so we want to put a bit of this on. Like that. Stick that there. Then we'll put on our word. Like that. And then I'm going to just stick on my little butterfly. Like that. And I did have my little pokey tool thing. going to put a bit of glue on there, onto my, the dog's having a stretch. And there we go. So there's that page all done. So I'm quite happy with that. Then the middle page, or let's go to the end page next. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to put some die cuts on here. So I have been cutting out die cuts today. So I've got a whole tray full of them. Look at that. These are all from various scraps of cardstock that I've got. And I've just been cutting out all sorts of colours for use in various projects. So today what I want to do is I'm going to use some green. I'm going to stick that over there like that, and I'm going to look for a bit of pink. Pink. Is that the right pink? No. So what I will do is find something else. That's me all over, looking for things that I don't. They do get a bit tangled. So I might put, now this is where I'd make my own adjustments here, because I don't want it to be so much. So I'm going to take that bit off, can use that at another point. And then where's my lovely pokey tool, which I love. Sorry. Just take out a couple of these things that just need to be pressed out, and I think that that'll look really nice like that. Okay, so nothing wrong with that. Yeah, so I'm going to stick those down, and then I'm going to put a piece of this pink. I'm going to just tear a piece like that. And this is where the scraps come into very handy, you know. We just want to have a little piece like that, and find a piece of Edith Holden. Let's see if I've got a piece of Edith Holden in here, page that I'm not going to really use. No, I'm not going to find anything in there, so we won't be using Edith Holden. We'll just go back and use some of this. I do love script, so there we go. And I won't want all that white on there. So we just, my hands are so inked up from doing all sorts. Right, so we're going to just put that like that, and this time I think we're going to have a little pink butterfly, so I'm going to put a little pink one over there like that. How's that look? Okay, so that's all I'm going to do there. So we'll stick these down first. That's the easy bits. Those are more fiddly. I hope you're all keeping yourselves busy and getting a lot done. I have got had a bit of an avocado dyeing day yesterday, and I'd been having avocados, and what I do is when I don't eat piles of avocados, when I'm finished, I clean the skins and the pip out, and I put them in a freezer bag and I shove them in the freezer until I've got quite a few, and then I go about getting them all boiled up and everything for having a avocado dyeing day. So I did that yesterday because the weather was so lovely. And they dried. I did paper, I did fabric, I did trim, I did loads. And the good thing is, the other tip I'd tell you about that, and you can do the same with tea dyeing, is but I think with other it's more quite of a process than just tea dyeing or coffee dyeing. So what I did was the remaining liquid that I had over, I actually ended up throwing that back in an IKEA freezer bag, and I put it in the freezer. So, you know, as you do. So that was really good. So I just want to take some of this again, put that over there. Get my wet wipe out. Okay. Okay, so we were putting on another little pearl. Oops, that one jumped away. Oh, there we go. Right, so there's that one. Okay, so now just let's stick this down quickly. So we'll just start at the top. These are fiddly to glue, but I think they're well worth it. And I did get myself some little bottles off Amazon that have like little needle syringes. I'm just gonna, I don't want a different type of glue, I just want it to be more precision. So I've got these small bottles that will just allow me to decant this glue into there, and I'm gonna just try that and see, because I love the way I love this glue as far as it's so permanent, and you know nothing's going to come off. I mean, you do get if you have a look at journals you might have made or received or whatever from other people maybe, or made yourself, the glue does eventually come up and loosen. So you've got to make sure that you use a really good glue for that. Okay, so there's that one done. We've got that one done, that one done. Now let's tackle the middle. Right, for the middle, what I'm going to do there is I made a bit of a booklet to go in there. So this is how I did it. Got little piles of everything over here. Okay, so what I've done here is I've just put all my bits together so I don't lose it. I took 2 sheets of paper, and you don't need to do that many, but I've taken a sheet of avocado and a sheet of tea dyed paper, and I have folded them in half, cut them lengthwise, and then folded them the other way and cut them that way. So like that, and then I'm going to grip them all together. That's why I had these clips on here, just to keep them where I want them. So let's just do that. So, and then I took a piece of this wallpaper, but you can use any paper. It's just a scrap. Folded it in half like that, and that's going to go over the top of my notepad, because this is going to end up going in here like that. So what I did was I'm going to hold that in place like that, just for a minute, and I'm just going to run this through the sewing machine quickly, just so that these pages are going to stay where they need to. there we have the notepad run through there. Now all I'm going to do here is just level this up nice and straight. Like that. Okay, so we can take these off then. Like that. We are now going to stick this down where it needs to go. You can see that perhaps that was just a few I should have put half of those in there really. And now I'm going to run glue just over the extra paper bit over here. Hold that there, and then just make sure that when you put this down it is lying straight. Like that. Okay. And you can just grip it so that you know it is going to dry nicely. Like that, quickly. Just put these back ones flat so I can still carry on doing what I wanted to do. Alright, so there we've got the notepad in place. And now I'm going to just quickly stick these bits over there just to give it over that stitch line and give it a nice little feminine touch. So this is just some of that sticky washi lacy tape. Thank you, something like that. And then you just want to put that over there and then just trim off the excess of what you don't need, like that. Just makes it nice and neat, and like that. So that's really quick and easy. And then I've just made a little cluster here just to stick on the end as well. Okay, so that's just using, and probably it adds too much bulk, but you know me, I like finishes. So there we go. We've pretty much finished that side. That looks all pretty really. Love those colors. And we've got our pink, we've got our blue, we've got our various bits. This is gluing down nicely, so I'm going to take this off quickly so that we can finish off the other side as well. So let's put that all over there. Okay, so far so good. Right, so that's going to close up like that, that's going to close up like that. So it's all looking really perfect at the moment. Okay, so now we're back onto this side. Just allow that flat. Want to just put some finishing touches on here, and then we can carry on with the other bits and pieces. So what I put on here was 3 little flowers and 3 little buttons. So that's what we're going to do there. So let's put on the buttons quickly. I've stitched the buttons so that they look like they've been stitched with thread. I did that before the time, so I just want to stick those 3 on. Just put this there so that they are all in line. And then the last one. Okay. Oops, that was a bit far over. Okay, so I just want to make sure now that they are all as I want them, and just using this to line them up. Okay, so there we go. We've got our 3 buttons on there. Now we want to take our 3 little flowers. These are the ones that I get from Hobby Craft here in the UK, but I'm sure you can get them from eBay. I've seen something like this on eBay. So we're just going to stick those on there like that. Okay, so there's that done. Right, we're moving nicely now. Right, again, we're going to put a couple of goodies here. I'm going back to my flowers, so I'm just looking for a blue daisy because I quite like this powder blue shade that I have. Oh, that wasn't meant to happen, but you won't notice when it's glued. Right, so there's that going to go on over there, and then I just wanted to get a smaller piece, which I will take this one, and I'm gonna just make it a little bit shorter. I think I'll just cut that off there like that. So we'll put that over there and that on top like that. Okay, so that will work. So let's stick that on there quickly. So this one's on first. Okay, and then the blue one. Okay, well, the weather's really warm today and I can see there are people congregating in the park, so I hope that they are doing their daily exercise and nothing more. I haven't left this house for 6 days and I just don't want to come into contact with anybody and risk being ill, because I was listening to the news, and I don't normally because it's quite depressing, but yeah, I just don't think that people should be walking around if they don't have to. And I understand how difficult that is, because obviously people who don't have who are stuck in tower blocks and things, it's really challenging. But you know, especially when you've got small children, I do understand that. It really is not easy, but alright, so we're going to just put, that's a bit long, so let's just take that off there like that. We'll stick that on there. I know I faff a lot. I can hear you saying, what a lot of faff, you know, but I think it's the little things that make the difference. So otherwise it's they'll, you know, there's no point of difference for anything. So I like using my scraps up as well, and I've got loads of them. I need to make some of those ruffles or something. Right, so we've got that there, and just want a little butterfly. Okay, so we'll just put a bit on there. Okay, There we go. Okay, now we're on to the front. So we've got that there. Oh, what we need to do is finish off this. So what I've done here is I've got a journal card that should fit in here. Should, she says, should. Okay, so that does. Now, what we are trying to establish is where exactly we want to be putting a butterfly. So this needs to go there. So I'm just gauging here the top of the B, the A, and hopefully I can remember where that goes. The top of the B, the A, so I think it was something like that. So that's just how you gauge it. If you don't put on your acetate window, then you don't have to worry about that, and you can just plonk it on once your journal card's inside. So there's that. But you know, I like to make things difficult for myself. Right, so right, there we go. And I said B over there and A over there, and I think that's where we're having it. Okay, so that should be all okay. Hopefully. Is that straight? I think so. Okay, so there's a journal card, which I've just was really easy to do pretty much. So that should be in the right spot, and there it is. That's not bad. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. So there we have all of that looking really good. I've got a journal card that slides into here as well. So again, I've just taken another piece of the paper, and I suppose I could have cut loops here, but I didn't. So we just want to slide that in there. So that goes in there. So everything's looking really awesome at the minute. So now we want to do this last page. So I'm going to lie flat to do this because it'll be easier. So what we want to do here is we're going to now put our bits and pieces on for our toilet roll cores. So if I just put this to the side quickly over there, and I said to you needed 3 of these. Now the first one, I've got stuff ready for you. The first one, so I've got 3 like that, and I've used 2 of them as they are. I've just cut paper to fit from the scraps there, and it's just a case of sizing that and putting that on there. I did it slightly longer because I was doing torn edges, so it's a case of just, I took my glue stick, I just put glue on here like that, and you know how to do this, so you know, just press that down all over, and then all I did was, and I'll do it quickly, is stitch on the 3 edges like that with your sewing machine if you want to. You don't have to, as I keep telling you, you know, it's not a must. Okay, so there we've done that. I've just stitched that around, as you can see. All right, so that's great as it is. Quite happy with that. And then all I did was I did that with the other one as well. So I've got this one which I've used with the same blue I used earlier, and then I've just put on 2 of the die cuts like that. And then on the third one I cut it in half. So I've cut the core in half, and I've just covered to make that one shorter, and I've put on a few bits and pieces there. So the only thing I need to do now is to decorate this last one here, and all I did was put a word on there. That was it really. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, right, now we're ready with the front page, except that on the very front bit over here, just make sure I've got the central, you're going to have two areas, I think it's up here and up here, that are going to stick out once you've arranged this, and I'll show you what I mean when I do that. So what I did was I put this one to fit as close to the right to the top and obviously slightly away from the edge. This one I'm going to put down like that. I don't want to cover the butterfly, so I'm quite mindful of that. And then this one is going to go in the front, so close to the edge there and flat there. So you can see I've got two brown bits sticking out, which I don't necessarily want. So I could put, no, something more demure. So if we put that at the top there, no, we'll put that one at the bottom here. And then we'll find another one to go at the top there. So that one can go up there like that. Okay, so we're just covering all our areas. So I think that looks really lovely. Okay, so let's just take these off quickly. Let's stick these down because that's important. I'm just going to thing the two edges there and the two edges there. So we'll stick these down. Put that over there, close to the top, and we'll stick this over here, like that. Okay, so there we have that. So now let's go and do these. So the first one, we're going to turn it over. I'm just going to change glues quickly to my big bottle of Fabri-Tac. So we're going to press it open first. That's what it is. Alright, so we are now going to stick this down to the top area over here. Right, so this is where you want to be turning this over now. You don't want to be getting that stuck into the, just to make sure. Okay, so take your, just want to make sure that it doesn't go over there. So then press that down nicely, and you don't want it to go over the edge there either. So just make sure. Alright, so that's cool. Okay, then we want to just take this one. It's the only one I didn't ink. Okay, and we're going to do the same with this one. And we're going to put that quite high up, not too high, like that. So we want to hold that down as well. So let's just clip them down just to hold them for a bit. That's it. And here's another one here. Like that. And then the very, very last one goes in the front here. Okay, so while those are doing their thing, and what I didn't do was put the little slots in, which is a shame, but never mind. Okay, so we want to just make that, match that up with the bottom and there, and hold that down for a bit. This is when having one of those cast iron, old-fashioned irons like Jackie's got is a really good thing to have, because it puts the weight down. I mean, I would just put my sewing machine on top of this, but that's going to be quite something. Right, so I would suggest putting this under a pile of books lying flat like this when you're done, so that it does press it all, especially the front bit, this front bit here, and just keep it flat for as long as you can, just so that it's until it's pretty dry. Now this glue does dry really quickly, so that's a blessing. All right, so now you'll be glad to know I have made the tags already, so we are all right there. And now it's just a case of take these off. I'm going to just put this on some of the parts just to keep it closed while I'm getting out my tags. So I've made 3 tags here. I've made a little one for the front. I've made 2 others for the back, these pockets here. So just want to cut off this little tag. I've put in some chiffon, is this chiffon? Organza ribbon, I think it's called. So this one will just end up going in the bottom here. Now on my other one I made little notches, which does make it slightly easier. So we've got that one going in there, and we have, just move this down over here, we have this one going in there, like that. Done, but got distracted. So with this one, that one goes at the back here like that. There we go. All right, so we can take that off now. These are pretty well set. And there we have our little project all done. So there's the front. We open it up like that, and we've got those 2 pockets with our journal card in there. Oops, it's moving. And then we've got another journal card in there like that. Now nothing wants to go back in. Oh, it's caught catching on something. Okay, so there's those, and I think that looks so pretty in the front like that. And then if we turn it over, we've got our little notebook in the middle here, which I probably put too many pages in. We've got our little display over there, and we've got another little side like that. Okay, so that all closes up really nicely. And you can put that into your journal as I showed you earlier. If you want, you can put a little clip on it just depends. In hindsight, I would have made less pages to go into the little notebook. Really, I think it was really too much. And here again, I've got another little one over here. So I hope you've enjoyed that project with me today. I really enjoyed creating it. I was racking my brains when Jean said to me, oh, what are you going to do to top the last one? I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I have no idea. So I was thinking about, Carol was saying to me, hi Carol, oh, you're going to revisit your recycling. And I thought, oh, well, let me do a few bits of recycling, bring that back in. I've used all the packaging for the backs of the cards. I've used the acetate for the window. I've used toilet rolls. So I suppose in a way I have sort of revisited some of the recycling again. So I hope you've enjoyed that. This is a long video. I hope when I edit it, it's a bit shorter. And I hope that you try these and put them in your journal or use them for Happy Mail or something like that. Okay, so thank you everybody. Thank you for joining me and spending time with me. I do appreciate it. I hope you are going to have a lovely rest of the Easter weekend, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Bye bye.